everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Nur and thank you so much for joining me in another video. It is Friday. It seems like every Friday I would say it is Friday. I just want it to be as obvious as possible. Welcome to episode 4 of Books of Change. We are already a month in. I like sharing the books that had changed my life. Books of Change is a video series that I collaborated with Clara, and I will link our playlist down below so you guys can check out all the videos, including the introduction videos and all our episodes, so you guys can see what Books of Change is all about. I would also link Clara's channel down below so you guys can subscribe to her. Today's episode, the theme would be about self-confidence, so books that had impacted our self-confidence. And I have been thinking for a week on what book I should pick out because I don't seem to read a lot of books that had changed my self-confidence. But then something came up in my little head and I thought that this is a very appropriate good book for me to share it with you guys because it had essentially boosted my self-confidence. Very often when people talk about self-confidence or books that had made you have more self-confidence, it's always a non-fiction. But I think that even in fiction, there's some truth in it, there's some things that you can learn from it. So the book that I have chosen is The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. I read this when I was in my first year of university, and at that point of time, it was really rough for me. There were a lot of things going on at that particular point of time, so I was really demotivated, wasn't feeling going to school. Quite honestly, I was not having the best time in my life. So my younger sister actually gave this to me. She thought that it is a very good book for me to read at a point of time. Quite honestly, it made me feel so much better and gave me such great motivation to continue and pursue my degree. There's a quick synopsis of The Alchemist. The Alchemist tells the story of this shepherd who has reoccurring dreams of finding a treasure in the great desert amongst the pyramids, and he decided to go on a quest to find this treasure, and along the way he meets all these people that would potentially help him in finding that treasure, and one of them is The Alchemist. I knew there were a lot of hype going on in this book. There were a lot of people talking about this book, and they said that the writing is really magical and that it is really heartfelt and it gives you a sense of meaning. Paulo Coelho writes a lot of meaningful stories. I could relate to the shepherd. He was going through a very simple life. And then he had these dreams and he was wondering whether or not he should go for that dream, which eventually he did, and it led him to one thing to another, and it made him realize that there are a lot more than that actual dream. There are a lot more meaning to the actual dream, and everything is not what it seems. I read it a lot of times, and each time I read it, it really gives me that sense of motivation in finding my dreams. Although it's just fiction, but I could really relate to that person and the whole story of finding that dream at the end of the day and finding your purpose and going for your ambitions, even how difficult or even how challenging it may seem. Every single time I look back at this book, every single time I look at my bookshelf and come across it, it reminds me of the time where I nearly gave up in university because of so many things that was going on, not only in my studies but around me. Yeah, if you have never read it, then I would recommend you guys reading this. It has the Little Prince vibe if you have read the Little Prince, and I think that every single time I go into this book, I find new meaning in reading this. So it's a really short book, nothing crazily long. I highly recommend you guys reading this book, and if you guys have read it, then share me in the comments down below what you thought about it. If you guys haven't, then I really recommend, if you guys are trying out Paulo Coelho, then I recommend you guys try The Alchemist. Honestly, this is the only book that I read from him. I have no idea why, but I will definitely read more from him in the near future. But yeah, I highly recommend you guys reading this. Yeah, if you have any books that had changed you or made you or confidence or had motivated you in any part of your life, then share with me in the comments down below. I am very interested in knowing more books that had made you feel better about yourself. So for next week's theme, it will be about career. So yeah, you guys can know a little bit more about what I do. I will see you guys next week then. Until then, chill out. Hey, do you want to see the camera? Say hi to all those viewers out there. Hi, Nat. Hi, guys. You don't want to say hi? You're shy?